Good morning and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am Dungeon Master Bloodworth as well as Player Bloodworth. And the reason why I am introducing myself this way, uh, particularly for this new video series of Your Table, Your Dice, Your Fun, is because I am going to be giving you updates on my weekly gaming, both as a dungeon master in my AD&D First Edition campaign, as well as a player in a variety of games that I'm playing in. Currently, I just started in a new Castles and Crusades group, new campaign last night, and that is alternating Thursdays. And then next week, I will of course have my AD&D recap, as well as a second different game on Wednesday, Castles and Crusades again, that I'm playing in that different group as well. So every week, I will be bringing to you a recap of my gaming for the week. Now, why I'm doing this, particularly and what inspired me to create this new feature on the channel and label it um, as Your Table, Your Dice, and Your Fun, is because of the second part of the segment of this video, and that is the tabletop RPG hobby infighting that has been going on pretty much this past week, maybe even slightly longer than that. Now, every episode of Your Table, Your Dice, Your Fun is not always going to include a a very positive, hopefully a very positive gaming experience. My week in review, and then something negative. It just happens to be that the negative from this past week has really brought me to think of doing this. And so this is not going to be unscripted as usual. So I will, at times pause to get ready to go into the next portion of my discussion. But without further ado, let me jump right into my gaming experience from this week. So first, as a dungeon master in AD&D First Edition, we wrapped up episode 94. So our 94th session, these are weekly 3 hour to 3.5 hour sessions or so. Sometimes I wrap up a little bit earlier than that. It really depends on what's going on at the table at the time, or basically where's a good time to bring it to a close. So sometimes we'll go a little bit over, but we're typically on average about 3 hours. So, episode 94 has the party of basically it's 6 players right now. Our seventh player has been on vacation and anniversary and all of that for the last couple of weeks. Although I have been running his character by his permission, running his character as an NPC until he makes his return. Hopefully next week we will be, or next Tuesday we'll be on schedule for that. Um, they have been delving through what is known as the Iron Spine orc, either tribe or kingdom's lair. And it was kind of funny because unfortunately, at one point, one of the players, when I brought them to the map of the dungeon, for some reason, the fog of war was off of his. It was revealed. The entire map was revealed to him, and he was like, "Get us off the map! Get us off the map! I can see the entire map." And everyone else was like, no, well, we can't. So it was just his, and someone said, just refresh and you should be okay. And he refreshed, and yeah, the rest of it. But it kind of revealed the massiveness of this map for them. And so at least he knows that this is going to be a several week slog through this complex if they choose to keep on going through. So the party of 7 player characters, all levels 8 through roughly 9, have been trudging through this massive orc lair, and they came into a section um, that they did last week, where they had combated a fairly high level orcish or half orcish shaman and his entourage of assassins, and these were character class leveled assassins, also half orcs, as well as some giants in their service as well. And it was a pretty tough battle. It was a really tough, tight battle that they went through, and and spells depleted, everybody a little bit nicked and knacked here and such, and they wanted to spend the night in a closed off room that they can put up magic, a warding spell and a wyvern fire spell and such, just to protect themselves in case anything was happening. And I was really scratching my head saying, wow, this is going to be an interesting thing, because this is a living, breathing lair, and the chances of a response while they're trying to sleep, this 8-hour session, is going to be much, much higher. And they just got incredibly lucky rolls. I mean, every 2 hours I was rolling for, a 50-50 chance essentially, that, and it was progressively getting higher, right? The longer they stayed, it was going to be better. And they literally rolled, or I rolled for them on the D6. They did not have any encounters, even though their final roll, they needed to roll a 6 in order not to have an encounter in that last 2-hour segment, and that's exactly what I rolled for them. So that it really became like, I was like, wow, this is, you guys are so lucky, because the response was going to be, fairly significant, and it would have been really interesting if it happened. But that's where your dice kind of comes into play here. All right. And as a DM, I try not to fudge dice. I let the dice kind of determine certain things, and I just roll with it, no pun intended. And so that's how it turned out. And then they went and they discovered a secret door of a passage that hadn't been used in quite some time, and it brought them into another section of the layer, and that's also when the person had the glitch and was able to see the entire map. And then they encountered a combination of uh, hobgoblins, gnolls, and they encountered a hobgoblin shaman, uh, fairly decent level, not super super high, and a Knowlish or a Knoll shaman as well, with their combined forces. Um, the combat and the interactions and everything wasn't as crazy as it normally is during our session. So not a lot of critical hits, not a lot of against the players, let's say, not a lot of fumbles by the players as well, and they pretty much went through the session unscathed, or just with some minor injuries. I'm looking, the thief illusionist, took 9 points of damage during the course of the fighting, and the bard took 12 points of damage during the course of all of the fighting, and they pretty much crowd controlled and eliminated these particular groups that they encountered, probably about um, 20 overall, let's say, that they encountered in 2 different sections of the fight, or on the map, I should say. And Overall, it was a pretty decent session. We cut it kind of short because, again, one of the main players in the group is still not present. He was hoping to be there on Tuesday night, but his job got in the way, and so before they push further deeper into this layer, I was hoping that we can just put it off until next week and get going, full steam ahead with the full party available. So that was my experience this past week as a dungeon master. And now I'm going to move on to the very, very positive experience that I had in last night's Castles and Crusades game. So this is a new group that I joined into, and I'm actually going to switch screens here so that you can see the current games that I'm either playing in or running. And I'm just going to switch views here. So all of these right now are on Roll20. I'm eventually going to migrate over to Foundry from this. So here is my AD&D first edition campaign, and let me just double check to make sure you're looking at the right screen. So next session will be in 4 days on June 27th. Sword, Cross, and Candle is the new game I started playing in last night, and I started off. The party is only three players, or the DM included, actually two players and an NPC. They are two paladins and one. The NPC, I'm not quite sure what her character class is, and I'm the cleric in the group, and they're all third level. I was just first level. So my first level cleric, named Rhett, was a human cleric, lawful good. Um, it's a monotheistic setting, so there's only one religion in this setting, but there are patron saints, and so his patron saint was Saint Cuthbert. So I knew he was going to be fairly militaristic in mentality. So he was um, looking to be like a frontline fighter, even though he's not, and be very courageous and that kind of a situation. But he was only first level in a dungeon that is really third level, and we were fighting, gnolls. We were going through a gnoll lair, and we had pushed into a room where there were basically 16 combatant gnolls. There were 11 or 17. There were 11 females. There were seven males, and then a whole bunch of pups or whatever you call gnollish children. And I had certainly realized we just pushed into the common room. This is going to be a nasty fight, and we knew that or at least initially, we were like, all right, one of the paladins engaged them, and he was quickly surrounded, and he was brought. He took some serious hits. He took like two critical hits in that first round, and so he took quite a bit of damage. And so I decided, even though I'm first level, I was going to jump in, come out of from the doorway where I was standing in, and I couldn't be seen from that direction. And so on my first action, I jumped in, and I had engaged by healing him. Actually, I'll switch views back over here again. Sorry. Um, so I had engaged and I healed him. Unfortunately, I only healed him 3 points, and that was my last spell because I only had two spells, and the first spell I cast on myself was a shield of faith, which gave me a +2 to my armor class and a +2 to my saving throws. So I figured just in case I do get attacked, I'll have this, um, I'll have this protection as well. So I only healed him 3 points when I jumped in there, and but it did kind of play a role. It allowed him to last just a little bit longer, possibly one round longer. My first attack, I rolled a 19, and so I really hit one of these guys, and I hit him for like 6 points with my Morning Star. And I was like, all right, awesome. And then I was attacked. I was not hit that first round. I was attacked by like three gnolls at that point. And then my second round of attack, so really the third round of the battle, I attacked again, and I scored a critical, and I killed that gnoll. Then we continued fighting. I got hit again. Like I got hit for the first time. I'm brought down to 1 hit point, and I was like, "All right, my character's probably dead. I'm not going to survive this and everything. So I'm just going to just keep on fighting and trying to clear a path for that first fighter to, that first paladin to break out of there, because he was completely surrounded. So I was trying to kill the ones that were blocking his path to the door. And, so I had taken that, pretty serious hit. I was brought down to 1 hit point of damage. And I was, just going into the next thing. And then I rolled another crit. So I was like, cool, and I slammed that particular knoll and killed him off too. So I killed two of the knolls of the 17 combatant knolls in that room. And then finally I got hit, and I got hit with a critical, so it brought me down to -7 hit points. So I'm down. The paladin in the center, he got brought down to 0 hit points, so he was down. The NPC that we had, was she was brought down, and so she was reduced to near, I think, 0. So she was knocked unconscious, and then the final guy, he was the last guy standing, very wounded himself. He grabbed a hold of her and ran out. And so my first character in this new campaign lasted about 2 hours. And I was like, all right, well, and the option was to, just stop at that point. I was like, no, I'll roll up a new character, and we'll see where it goes. One of the other players whose character was now captured, he was down to 0 hit points and captured. He was rolling up a first level character as well. And my new character is going to be a first level ranger. And now we went through the role playing aspect of bringing the new group of player characters together. And we are now, because one survived, and now we have the story of what happened in that lair. We are now going to return in our next session in 2 weeks to go there and to either rescue or recover the bodies of our fallen. So really a lot of, really a lot of gaming, really good gaming, and with new group of players, and continuation of an old group of players that have been together now for, a little over 2 years, some of us. And it's just the ideal, in my mind. It's just the ideal of what the gaming is supposed to be about: your table, your dice, your fun. All right. As long as you are with a group of people that you enjoy being with, and you're introducing new players into the hobby as well at the same time, or you're being introduced to players in the hobby with joining other groups and such, and you're just rolling dice and having fun. That's what the hobby's ideal is right. It's a pastime. That's what it's meant to be. It's a hobby, and that's what I encourage you to do. Now, the second segment of this, with some of the infighting that is taking place in the hobby, really prompted this whole video because what I see is I see individuals that I do follow in the hobby that are squabbling over what's going on at other people's tables, and or how their gaming is different than other people's gaming. And in some cases, and this has been thrown around for the last couple days, that there are some gamers out there that have these purity tests, right? So this is, the right way to play kind of ideas. And that's why I came up with really the title of this new feature is, it's your table. Who cares what's happening at other people's tables? If you care about how other people are playing at your table, at their table, you're being a dick. All right, it has no bearing on you. All right, and you should not be interjecting, hey, well, this is not the way to play. I mean, that's just stupid. It's mind your own business, play at your table. These are people that aren't talking about what's going on at their tables. These are people that are worrying about what's happening at other people's tables, and that's the silliness behind this infighting. And some of the other infighting is going on. Well, you had this person on your channel, um and this person has some, views that we don't like, and even though you were talking about gaming and talking to this person about gaming, this person has other who gives a shit? All right. Your table, your channel, your dice, your fun, whatever your interest. You want to learn what someone else's gaming theory is, without necessarily agreeing with it, without supporting it, without trashing it, without doing whatever. You just want to learn, more about how other people are doing things, and that shouldn't be a problem. Uh, there's no issue with interviewing people, at least in my opinion, uh, even if those people are, otherwise deplorable in their beliefs or their, what they're doing. Um, you know, just simply giving them, I saw this comment. It was like, well, when you give a platform to them, you're it, if you're giving them a platform to support what they're saying, then that's one thing. But if you're giving them a platform for them to reveal their, their beliefs about gaming, then, that's not a tacit support for any other beliefs that they have. And that's what's really been going on here, as part of um, that initial squabble, I believe, that started taking place over this last week and a half or so. Um, it's just, I don't see these people who are doing these, throwing out these things like purity tests or whatever. I don't see these people talking about what they did in their last game session. All right. And that I think, if we all focused more on just talking about not gaming theory or gaming, this or that, but talking about, this is what I did last night. This is what I did in the past week. This is what I'm planning to do next week with my group of players. You know, isn't it so much fun that we can talk about a hobby that we enjoy? We're spending that time with our friends, we're rolling our dice, and this is what the hobby is all about. I don't see enough people out there doing that. Um, but I will shout out a few, and some will be surprised, or at least one individual that's also doing this that I think is important. And again, you will all be surprised, but I am going to shout out J. Scott Garibay, all right, because in his last couple of weeks, he's been talking about his actual game experience and talking about the games that he's playing as a player and talking about his the games that he is running. Now, I completely disagree with him virtually about everything that he believes in, is Dungeons and Dragons, and virtually everything that he believes in about old school Dungeons and Dragons or the OSR or anything like that. But I do give him credit that he's at least talking about, this is what I did in my last gaming table. This is a new game that I'm playing in, and this is the experience that I'm having. All right. And not enough of us are doing that. So I give credit where credit is due, even though he's got me blocked and he doesn't, he thinks that I hate him, which is not true. But I will point out and give credit where credit's due. He's talking about actual gaming from time to time, in between the rest of the mess that he actually covers. He has at least done that. Other individuals that I will mention in a less positive light, and I'm gonna lay this out there just because it's something that I've seen. So there is a infighting, if you will, although I don't consider the one um, in as much as he thinks that he is. Um, there's this squabble between whether it be the Legion of Myth and Max and the group of us that actually go on the Legion of Myth and his live streams and such, and Condor DM. All right, so Condor DM just recently in a video, put out and attacked a player in my group. All right. So Shadow of Shadow and Sun plays in my group. He is one of the nicest guys that I've met. And Condor DM came out and, basically called Shadow a jackass, without any evidence, without any reason, without any link, to a video where Shadow. I know Condor DM and the way that he reacts to any kind of a dispute that you might have with him, or the slightest of disagreements, and you're deceitful and piece of shit and whatever. I mean, he will go completely off, and he'll speak about it for the next 3 weeks, but he won't use your name, or at least he'll stop using your name and stop showing evidence. But he'll say, "Oh, you see, they're talking about me. They're talking about me." They won't come straight out and say my name, but I know they're talking about me, and so they can't stop talking about me. It's his insatiable need to have attention that he brings this out. But like I said, he attacked one of my friends, one of the nicest guys I know, in this hobby, and and somebody who I have not seen him say anything truly negative about anyone. And so when Condor DM comes out and attacks him, calls him a jackass, and then says, "Oh, in a recent stream," it's like, put the link in. All right, link to the stream so that we can see exactly what you're talking about. Because without that, and this is this is something, this is his modus operandi. He doesn't mention people by name, and then when he does, he doesn't supply the evidence of such a thing. And we're supposed to, watch through hours and hours of live stream or whatever to find the one nugget that they may have even mentioned him. I seriously doubt it. So this is the kind of tabletop RPG hobby infighting that prompted me to point to this whole feature and to create this feature. People out there, talk about the games you're running. All right, tell me about your players. Tell me about the last game session you played in as a player. Tell me about the last game session you ran as a game master, and what you're planning on doing in the next couple of weeks. Um, if more of us did that, then I think that all of this other nonsense of what's going on at other people's tables disappeared. All of this, pointing fingers at each other. Oh, you shouldn't have interviewed this person. This person has bad views that I disagree with. It's nonsense. All right, it's just not what we're supposed to be here doing in our pastime, in our enjoyment time, in our leisure time. It is gaming is a time for you to leave all that bullshit aside. All of the, leave your work day behind you and to sit back and relax and to spend a couple hours playing at your table, rolling your dice, and having fun with your friends. And so I'm going to wrap it up there. And, so real quick recap, you're okay to have anybody, at your table or on your channel to talk to them about gaming. That's great. That's fine. Just because you have them on your channel doesn't mean that you agree with them in every single thing that they do. Just because you like their game doesn't mean that you agree with what the person is like in person, in their own real world setting. You can like those kinds of things, or you could be interested to understand how their game system works, without, or what their game theory is, without agreeing with their politics or their personally held beliefs. Um, you should not concern yourself with how somebody else is playing at their table. Do they use one to one time? Who gives a shit if they use one to one time or if they don't use one to one time? All right. It shouldn't matter to you. You should only worry about your table as a game master, or the table you're sitting at as a player is the only table you need to be concerned about how the game is actually being run. Um, if you don't like the way that your table is being run, all right, as a player, get up and go. All right. If you, as a DM, you don't like, or a game master, if you don't like what the players are bringing to the table, get different players. There's plenty of people out there looking for tables to play at. All right. And I think that if you start off with the idea that, hey, we're just here to pass time, have a good time, play the game that we're looking to play, and to have fun, that you're not going to have any problems in this hobby at all. Um, and then finally, like I said, to those individuals that are going to attack others without evidence, just stop it. Just walk away. You obviously are craving the attention that that you're not getting from going into these different social media groups that are around this hobby, and you're bringing that abrasiveness with you and getting kicked off, and then you're going to cry for the next 3 or 4 videos complaining that, oh, you've been misrepresented. No, you're an asshole when you walk into most of these groups, and then you overreact when somebody slightly disagrees with you, and then and you'll gripe about that for the next 3 or 4 videos after that, and and then you're going to cry that your channel is small. Please stop. It's sad, and move on and play, and stop making these unfounded allegations against others. Or show the evidence, show the receipts, bring the receipt to the table. All right, and then we can all see and look at it. But so get back to talking about gaming. Get back to talking about, well, this is what I ran at my table. This is how the game ran at a table that I was a player at. And this is how much fun we had doing it. So thanks for joining. I know it's a bit of a weird introduction to what I hope to be a very positive feature moving forward for my channel. And so now that you know why I put this thing together and why there's two separate segments, and as always, thanks for joining. I'm sure that I will get plenty of likes and dislikes on this one. Probably a lot of traffic because it is a provocative um, it is a provocative issue that I've seen crop up over the last week or so, and I'm sure that some people go, "Oh, you're just looking for clicks or whatever." It That's nonsense. I'd like your comments in this section, positive or negative, because I love those. Comments are great because now that gives me the opportunity to learn and grow and change and respond and so on. So your thumbs up, your thumbs down, that's less important to me as your comments. So please leave your comments in there. And as always, have a great rest of your day and upcoming weekend. Enjoy your upcoming weekend and keep on gaming out there. I look forward to seeing you at the gaming table sometime soon, whether that's online or in person at a convention. And just try to keep it positive and focus on your table, your dice, and your fun. Have a great day.